What's going on, everyone? Michael Martin here. You might know me better as Bizarro Mike. I'm the esports social media manager for Capcom. That means all things related to esports and, of course, the Capcom Pro Tour. And this is Wake Up Wednesday. So it's been a while since we've done one of these videos. I want to get back to doing these on a more regular basis. I want to catch you up to speed on the Capcom Pro Tour and actually talk to you about a few specific topics that have come up recently, especially on social media, on Twitter, Reddit, what have you. Before I dive into that, I just want to say thank you to all of you who have played, supported, and competed on the Capcom Pro Tour and in Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. We've had a great couple of months here in the beginning of the Pro Tour. It's been extremely competitive. We can't thank you enough for making this exciting season, and we're looking forward to the rest of the season as we head into the summer months, and of course, Combo Breaker, CEO, and EVO, our big premier events. Don't forget Stunfest as well in Europe, in France. So we've got 4 major events, and of course, all of these CPT ranking events in between those. The points matter, and we're looking forward to a highly competitive season. So that brings me to the first topic regarding points and ranking events. As many of you know, we shuffled around, we adjusted the format of the Capcom Pro Tour. This is something we do every year. We go through the Pro Tour, we evaluate it, we see what works, maybe what doesn't work so well, and we adjust accordingly. One of those things has been a real sticking point on social media, and that specifically is the points distribution. Before I get too deep into that, I just want to talk a little bit about previous years. Big changes from, I would say, 2016 to 2017 to this year on the Capcom Pro Tour as far as qualifying and earning points. In 2015, which was of course the last year of Street Fighter IV, we had auto-qualification, and players as low as 4th place towards the end of the year at premier events were auto-qualifying for Capcom Cup. So in 2016, we changed it up a little, and repeat premier event winners would open up spots on the global leaderboard, taking away some of the prestige still of winning a premier event. So in 2017, our goal was to maintain a season without auto-qualifying while making winning premier events even more prestigious. Now, as a result of that, we put too many points into the Pro Tour, and that didn't meet our expectation for how we wanted players to qualify. That's why we decided to change things up again for 2018. So we worked with One Frame Link to come up with various point distribution scenarios, and based on previous and current results, this is what we came up with. The current format is what we came up with. It's a little contentious, I understand that. We definitely hear and understand players' issues, positive or negative, with the Pro Tour. So that's why I wanted to put together this video to kind of explain how we came about this year's format. So our expectation, again, was for 2017, 400 points would be enough. If you won a premier event, 400 points would be enough to qualify for Capcom Cup. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The amount of points you needed far exceeded our expectations, and for a player to qualify for Capcom Cup 2017, they needed at least 700 points to make it into Capcom Cup at the end of the year. So we crunched numbers, we ran various scenarios, and concluded that our current format sort of achieves the goal for bringing that inflation down from last year, while at the same time maintaining the competitive nature of the Capcom Pro Tour. Obviously, there's been some spirited discussion on social media and online, especially with our point distribution and ranking events. That's something I want to address right now. There's been a big focus on 7th place, earning 1 point. As you know, if you've seen the rules, what we did was we made premier events, winning a premier event, even more points. We gave more points to winning that. We scaled those points from 2 and below, And ranking events as well, we did the same thing. We scaled the points earned from 2 and below. We also lowered the amount of points that were awarded in both of those point distributions, with the exception, of course, premier events, you earn more points if you win. As a result, we think that achieves the competitive nature without inflating the leaderboards like it was last year. But we want to say that all the points earned on the Pro Tour will matter. And if you look into around the 20s and 30s on the leaderboard, you'll see that there is plenty of competition there with separation by maybe just a few points, a handful of points. Placing an event is still important. So looking at 2016, as a comparison, first place earned 128 points. 7th place earned 4 points. 9th, 13th earned 2 and 1 respectively. In 2017, because of that inflation of points, first place earned 160 points, 7th place earned 10 points, while 9th and 13th earned 5 and 1. This year, we reduced the points from 2017, of course. First place earns 150 points. That's 10 less than last year, but still more than 2016. And the scale is lower. This is important. Players finishing 2 and 5 still earn more points in 2018 than they did in 2016. 7th place is 1 point, which many players have focused on. However, many players in that range, that 20 to 32 range and below, are within a few points of each other. All it takes is placing at an event, and if the CPT were to end today, various players could be in or out of Capcom Cup. Points matter, and we believe this season will be very competitive, of course. The Pro Tour is built that way. It should be competitive. However, especially at the end of the year, we felt the last couple years, because things were very predetermined by the end of the year, with the exception of maybe last year was a great example of 801 Strider qualifying for Capcom Cup by earning 5th at Canada Cup. So those are great scenarios, and we want to continue to push for those scenarios. So I hope giving a little perspective on this breakdown of the points helps you understand where we're coming from. We didn't want to punish players. We don't want players to feel that they're not rewarded for traveling or for competing. What we want, though, is, and no system is perfect, what we want, though, is to bring back the competitive nature that we felt was not quite there with last year's format. So I understand that some players have concerns. Next year, or at the end of this year, we will definitely evaluate how things went on the Pro Tour and adjust for next year. But I do hope that you will continue to support the Capcom Pro Tour, support Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, show up to the events, the ranking events, the premier events, compete hard, play for those points, and of course, the regional finals. We'll talk about that next. All right, regional finals. This year, that is probably the other major change we've made to the Capcom Pro Tour format. Previously, of course, if you went to a regional finals, it would be the top 8 players from each region competing for a final spot. That is still the case. However, last year, we region locked all of those regional finals because what we saw was 2 years ago, international players traveling to other regions and actually taking those spots away from that region. We felt like that wasn't in the spirit of what we wanted with the regional breakdown and, of course, the regional finals. And I'm bringing this up now because, again, on social media, there has been some confusion, mostly in other communities, other foreign communities, with a little bit of maybe a misunderstanding as far as how these regional finals work. So, first, we got rid of the region lock. So that means the first day of a regional finals is an open premier tournament. Anyone can register, anyone can play. You earn points, and of course prizing, depending on the region if it allows. Day 2 still features a top 8 of players from that specific region. So, if in Day 1, a player from another region, let's say wins the tournament or places high enough, they are not put into Day 2's regional finals because they are not in that region. They can still play in Day 1, win points, prizing depending on the region, but Day 2 is specifically for that region's players. Because points are awarded on day one, which is different from previous years, we're taking the leaderboard stats after day one, after that Open Premier tournament is over, and applying the points to the regional leaderboard if necessary. And that's how we figure who our top 8 will be for day 2. That is, again, day 2 is a regional top 8 regional finals featuring only players from that region. So, as an example, if Tokido comes and plays in North American regional finals day 1, he can win, he can get that prize money, but he cannot get into day 2's regional finals. Those day 2 regional finals is the only auto qualifying spot for all of the regions. So that means 4 spots are available, and one of those spots will go to a player who is not already in Capcom Cup. The points breakdown, just in case. If a player places in top 8 on day 1, and they are from that specific region, that means they will earn points for the global leaderboard, just as they would on a premier event, and the appropriate amount of points going to their regional leaderboard. So as an example, if a player in Asia wins the Asia regional finals, on day 1, the Open Premier Tournament, they're going to win 700 points, that goes to their global leaderboard tally, and the 150 points that would go to their regional leaderboard. And if that places them high enough, then they will play in the top 8 regional finals on day 2. All right, before I go, I want to mention one more thing. Don't forget to register for your events. The CPT online ranking events registration are open. You can register for any of those events throughout the end of the season. And big premier events coming up. Stunfest and Combo Breaker. Registration's open for those. Both take place in May, of course, France and the Chicago area. CEO is in June, Daytona Beach, as well as EVO in August, the first weekend of August. Registration's open for all of those events. Don't forget your ranking events as well. Texas Showdown's coming up soon, but you can still register for events like BAM, which is on Australia, of course, and Toryuken in Canada. It's been an exciting season so far. Again, we're extremely grateful that you've supported us at these events as well as watching online. Don't forget, you can catch us on twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters and YouTube on Capcom Fighters TV, as well as Facebook on the Street Fighter channel. Be sure you tune into all of those events. The premier events are broadcast across all of those platforms. You can even watch on CapcomProTour.com if you want. And make sure, for updates, you follow Capcom Fighters on Twitter, Capcom Fighters on Facebook, and of course CapcomProTour.com for any updates. I'm Michael Martin, and we'll talk soon.